Hello, it's KJ here. Welcome to part 2 of the UX Fridays theme, UX versus UI. Digging into part 2, I wanted to think about questions that a UX or UI designer would ask. Though a lot of designers may have that overlap and they can have a passion or the skills in both sets, sometimes the goals of a UX designer or UI designer might be very different. So you can kind of see that come alive in some of the questions that you would typically ask. A UX designer could ask, what is a user trying to achieve here? What types of problems or pain points is this user experiencing at this point in the journey? Is this solution actually solving those problems and meeting the needs of the users based on our research? And how can I make it easier, or how can I make this an easier experience for the user to get this task or goal done? Versus a UI designer might ask more things along the lines of, how will the user find this desired action or content or feature on this screen? What is the most important thing for a user on this screen or at this time? And how can I present that information so it's clear and simple for a user to find it and easy to understand? That's some questions that could kind of differentiate between the goals of a UX designer and a UI designer. So, a day in the life. This list is just a highlight of each. It's not an all-encompassing list by any means. A UX designer, obviously working with people, with stakeholders, strategists, hopefully direct communication, interaction with those end users. Doing user research, could be user interviews or doing field research and maybe even some user surveys. Could be a multitude of workshops like ideation workshops, problem-solving workshops, brainstorming workshops, design sprints, basically any type of activity that is involved in the analysis and the synthesis of all these different information coming at us while we're moving from discovery into more of that ideation and design. That also could involve any type of sketching and wireframing and prototyping. A typical day for a UI designer is really more working in that digital space, using those digital tools. Oftentimes we call it pixel perfect work, those very detail-oriented, pixel perfect visuals. That could also be anything like a micro interaction or a micro animation. Basically, it's translating those design concepts, mock-ups, or wireframes and transforming it into clear, understandable designs and high fidelity prototypes and designs. It's presenting something clearly so people understand it and they know what its purpose is and how to use it. So you might be a designer if you have some of these typical interests, qualities, or activities. A UX designer might have a little bit more analytical mind. They love solving problems, investigating why, obviously enjoys working with people and communicating with people. A lot of times you'll see a UX designer note-taking, sticky notes. I always have my sticky notes, always. I have so many. There's a common saying or motto with sales, always be closing. You can think about note-taking as always be captured in the discovery phase, always capturing more and more information, and then synthesizing that. Other activities could be sketching, prototyping, usability testing to validate those design concepts. Typical qualities and interests of a UI designer, they might actually be more interested in color and traditional color theory, typography, those basics of graphic design, and interested in communicating visuals, that strong attention to detail and really liking to make complex things easy to understand. They will be working more on those digital tools like Figma, for example, and working on mobile app, web app, and native app solutions. So that is the end of part 2. Please stick around for part 3. Thanks.